my name is Sarah Hay. I am the marketing coordinator here at the Leadership Sphere. My face is probably unfamiliar to many of you watching, but if you've read one of our newsletters before or some of our blogs, you will have seen some of the content that I have contributed to. And that brings me to introducing and welcoming you to our new Meet the Team series. At the Leadership Sphere, we really value the relationships and community that we've been fortunate enough to build with the people and organisations that we work with. But that does mean that a lot of you rarely get to see or speak with our entire team. Through this series, we hope that you will get to know more about who we are as people and as an organisation and why we're so passionate about the work that we do. Today, I am joined by some faces that might be familiar to a lot of you, but not everybody. Our CEO and founder, Phillip Ralph, and our New South Wales State Manager, Facilitator and Coach, Felicity, Waterford. Welcome to you both. Thank you for joining me. How are you?
Thanks.
Really good.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Thanks, Sarah.
Amazing. So Phil, I will start with you. Can you tell me a little bit about your professional background and give me maybe just one or two of the key milestones?
Okay. So at the age of 18, grew up in the country. At the age of 18, I joined the police force, Victoria Police, which is a little different. And I had an amazing time there, really enjoyed it, and spent 18 years there really as an operational police officer, first of all, and then working with leaders and teams around health promotion and wellness. And that moved into leadership. I did some things like worked in the psychology unit, really worked hard on one of the projects, a long-term project to create a safety first culture to reduce fatal shootings, which was one of the big milestones for me. And so, background in health and physical education, and then leadership. And then I moved to ANZ for 6 years. So that was my corporate experience, which is amazing and transformational for me and the leaders and teams that we worked with. And then started TLS, or Leadership Sphere, in 2007. So lots of milestones, and it's really hard to kind of pick a favorite, but they're all kind of built on each other. I think I've been very fortunate to have a wonderful career so far, and I have a lot of gratitude for it.
Amazing. And for yourself, what have been some of the major milestones of your career?
Yeah, I was talking last night, and we were talking about how many careers people have. And they said at the moment, probably about 7 and something like 24 jobs, but 7 careers. And I was thinking, oh, how many have I had? And I thought, probably only about 3. So I did a business degree in marketing. So my first job was actually in sales and, company car, and out doing the old traditional sales thing, knocking on doors. From there, I went into working at TAFE and became a teacher, essentially, working with long-term unemployed and youth at risk. And that added a lot of purpose and meaning to my life. And I thought, I want more of this. From 2000, I worked with McKinsey, and as one of the foundational facilitators of their mindsets and behaviour programs, which we ran globally. And part of that work was with ANZ, where I met Phil, and we worked together there. But since then, I've consulted with, governments and non-governments, organisations, and across the globe, from Brazil to Asia to Europe. So I've been, I would say, in the transformational space as opposed to teaching, the facilitation space for a couple of decades now.
Amazing. Well, I didn't know that you had been a teacher and been in that space as well.
Yeah.
So you touched on how you met Phil, and how, I'm just wondering if you could expand on that a little bit. How did your involvement with TLS begin, and what keeps you wanting to partner with us?
Yeah, so I first met Phil when I was working with ANZ, and we got to facilitate together, which was awesome. On this global transformational project, and it was extraordinary. It was had the most amazing team in ANZ, Phil of which was leading, and just incredibly well supported by the organisation, made a difference to many, many thousands of lives. And when I was invited to work alongside Phil in his own company and the team, I jumped at it. Phil is a person with just buckets of integrity and generosity and compassion, and savvy, like knows a lot. I've never
thanks, Fliss.
spoken about him And the programs that TLS run have such impact, and I care about that. You know, that purpose piece is really important to me. And I know when I was working with you, Phil, you know, it was equally important to you. Like we go in and do things that have no impact. And I, you know, the programs that we run, leaders come away knowing themselves more deeply. They produce results that they're proud of. They've got the fire and the influence to bring others along and achieve, you know, their own vision of what success is. And it's been a highlight.
Incredible. Phil, for you, what was the need that you saw that made you want to start TLS in the first place?
So thanks for those kind words too, Fliss. I mean, our relationship and the partnership and the things we've done together have been amazing. And I agree that time at ANZ was super transformational for me as a person, as a facilitator and as a coach. And I saw that impact as well in terms of the leaders and teams and their families, right? And their friends and the number of stories we heard. So after 6 years of working in a corporate, I kind of wanted to stretch my legs a little. And so there's two reasons why I started TLS. One, I was really inspired by starting my own business and thinking, God, I hadn't done that before. And I thought, what an amazing journey. And, you know, I just, I was so excited to do that and still am, you know, 16 years later. And the second reason was really wanting to expand that work that we did for our internal clients at ANZ, and really expand that across different organisations and expand our impact. And I think that's what we've been doing for a long period of time now, and it's enormously rewarding and fulfilling work. And I love our team, I love our clients, I love our consultants. And love's a word we don't use much, Fliss and Sarah. I know, Fliss, it's a word that you use a lot in an appropriate context, but if you love your job, it just makes all the difference.
Absolutely. Thank you both so much for sharing that with me. I would love to ask you both, what has been a highlight of your career? We've both touched on that a little bit already in this conversation, but has there been a standout from your career that it doesn't have to be from your work with TLS?
Do you want to go first, please?
Yeah, sure. For me, there's a little sky full of stars of it's those tiny moments of transformation. So rather than an event, it's the stories that I collect about the difference that people have made to their lives that brings them more calm, more connection, more love, a greater sense of purpose, that they now, you know, spend more time with their family, that they have better boundaries, that they have conversations with their team that are deeply impactful, and they're able to be more compassionate, doing more of what gives their life meaning. Those little stories that people do, saying that they just, you know, one bloke the other day just said, he said, I just had maybe the best conversation I've ever had with his 7-year-old daughter. He said, I just listened differently. I was completely in her world. And he said, and she felt it. And, you know, those moments for me, that's the highlight. Yeah.
Nice. For me, if I think more kind of organisationally, it really is hard to make to call out a highlight. I think they all build on each other. Some of the things I did with Victoria Police were amazing, and I just have a lot of gratitude for that. As I mentioned quickly earlier, I think one of the most profound things was co-leading or co-designing and co-leading a program that really aimed to build a safety first culture. So not that heroic kind of culture where, you know, we belt the door down, and Victoria Police had a horrible track record of fatal shootings in that era. It's something like 1 per month for 13 months, 1 fatality. And most of those were people who are impacted by mental health, psychosis, or alcohol or drug affected. And then the program I was involved in was really a 5-day training program. And I ran the first 3 days around communication skills and conflict resolution in the most of, traumatic and, extreme circumstances in the seconds that sometimes police have to make those decisions, and how do you be more sophisticated in the communication. So I'm just going to call that out as one of the projects I was involved in, which for me has really stuck with me. And after that project, there was no fatal shootings for 3 years, and I'm immensely proud of that and lives that's saved. So I'll leave it there, I think.
Wow, that's an incredible story. So moving ahead, what practices do you have in your routine that you implement in an effort to be resilient and ready?
Yeah, you go, Fliss.
You go ahead, Phil.
Okay. Yes, I'd like to say I'm one of those people who get up at 5 a.m., run 10Ks, and down a spinach smoothie, but that's not me. But I do, I have always maintained a level of physical activity. So I still run and ride my bike in the bush, mountain bike in the bush. And I think it's also about a mindset. So I think that I have always been pretty good at partitioning the things that I actually have control or influence over and those that I don't, and not worrying about the latter, and bringing a sense of optimism and hope as well to scenarios. So beyond that, that's probably mostly my practices. Also, different times I haven't done it solidly for 20 years or 25 years, but at different times I've certainly used meditation as a really great way to restore my energy and focus.
Amazing. And Fliss as well?
So I get up at 5:30 every morning and go for a walk.
Oh, you're one of those people.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
You had to show him up, didn't you?
No, I do walk every morning. I go for a walk for about an hour, and it just connects me to, it's like a bit of a meditation. And I love taking photographs. I look for something that gives me a sense of awe, and it might be just something in the pavement or the color of a leaf or something. And I'm never let down. I meditate irregularly, and also write morning pages. So when I find that my resilience is kind of a bit wobbly, for me, writing is a practice that really brings me back to my center. So I like that. And I'm pretty good at sleeping. Drink a lot of water, but all things in moderation. I really love a glass of wine, at the end of a week, and so and I really like what you said, Phil, about the mindset. I think I'm deeply grateful, and I guess it's a practice. I'm just always noticing what I have to be grateful for, what I have in my life as opposed to what I haven't, and I think that serves me really well. Noticing what I'm grateful for, what I do have.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I would love to switch gears a little bit with you both now, and just throw a couple of quick fire questions at you that I don't really want you to think about the answer too hard for.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you both happen to have your phones handy?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Can you please open your messages app? Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to read anything. I'm not going to invade your privacy like that. But if you could, just double check for me what your last 3 used emojis were, or your top 3 most recently used emojis were.
Oh, okay.
That's easy for me. Sorry.
Whoever's found them first, go ahead.
Go ahead, Phil.
My family reckon I've only got one emoji, and that's thumbs up. But I do have two others. I use the smiley face a lot, and also the I think what's it called, the roll on the floor laughing, the laughing one. So they're the 3 I use all the time. Not very broad spectrum.
Working with you, Phil, I can confirm that the thumbs up is a favorite of yours.
Yeah, not very sophisticated.
What about you, Fliss?
I've got the kissy face, that one. I've got the laughing one, the tears coming out of the eyes, and a love heart.
No, that's so.
And a butterfly.
Yeah,
I've got loads, but smiley face. I quite a lot. I use regularly.
Oh, that says a lot. Are you both music fans? I guess everybody listens to music every once in a while, but yeah. First, I'll start with you. Who is your favorite band or artist?
Oh God, I have so many, Sarah. Pulling it in. I was listening to Van Morrison this morning. Love it. The song days like these just always makes me be appreciative.
Amazing. And yourself, Phil?
Yeah, I'm similar. I just about like every single genre of music, apart from some like the really high end or kind of rap. I don't necessarily like that, but I love every type. But I really like, you know, some of the old songs or older songs by Elton John, you know, Your Song, or Edwina Hayes, It Feels Like Home, Robbie Williams, those kind of melodies and tracks really I like. But also, you know, a bit of headbanging stuff from the 80s and 90s as well, Queen and those kinds of bands. Some of their songs are amazing. You know, We Are the Champions. How can you not sing to that? Sing along to
100%.
that.
Okay.
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man, yeah, just fantastic.
So many good songs. Yeah, I do love a song that's kind of a belted out.
Yes.
Let's sing along together. Yeah.
I want to flip it a little bit though, and thinking about your favorite artists, what's your least favorite song of theirs?
Of theirs?
Couldn't tell you because I don't listen to it. Don't know their music well enough. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I don't know who the artist or the name of the song is, but one of my the one that always grates on me, and thankfully I don't play it on the radio much, but it's that the one with the hamster singing. It's the hamster dance or hamster song or something. It's so irritating. But anyway, I don't even know who sings it apart from a hamster.
Well, I don't think I'm
so
familiar.
many people watching this and going, "Oh, hello."
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, apologies if that is your favorite song.
Yeah.
If you could time travel to the past or the future, which would you choose?
Do you want to go first, Liz?
No, you go, Phil. I'm thinking.
I think the future. When I think about my thinking preferences, it always comes. I'm a very future orientated thinker, and both ways are attractive. Going back to maybe, it'd be good to have a word to my younger self. Although I'm not sure what I'd say. Maybe behave in school and don't be so talkative. My future self would be great just to see where the world is, you know, in 10, 20, 30 years time. So.
And you, Flip?
Yeah, equally, I'd love to go back and have some conversations with people that are no longer in my life and just, you know, give them an extra hug. But on the whole, I think I'm like you, Phil. I'd be going future. I like new things. I like learning. I like discovering and exploring. So yeah, I'd go future.
Cool.
Send me there.
What book are you currently reading, or what was the last one you've read if you're not reading anything at the moment?
Go ahead.
I'm more of a Kindle reader, and I probably keep 3, 4, 5 books on the go at once, and I'm listening to audiobooks when I'm driving, and so it's hard to say what one book is. One that's really captured me lately, though, is a book about Charlie Munger called The Complete Investor. I can't remember the author's name now, but Charlie Munger, for those who don't know, is the vice president of Berkshire Hathaway, one of the largest investment houses in the world, if not the largest and most successful. And Charlie Munger's well known for his thinking. He talks about worldly wisdom, and he says you can get through life with about 100 models or 100 frameworks and lenses. And it really just captured me because that's how I like to think differently as well. And when we run our leadership programs, we try and get people to kind of view things from different angles. And I was never really able to give it a name or language, that style of thinking, but he calls it lattice work thinking, as you have multiple perspectives of the world. And I'm just really enjoying actually being able to anchor something that I think I've been doing for a long time and we've been bringing into our program. So yeah, that's super interesting.
Thank you.
Love the sound of that. Sounds a little bit like one I read last year, The Midnight Library, where you can go into different alternate lives that you might have lived. And, you know, the expectation is this is going to be amazing. I'm a rock star, I've got loads of money. And then going, actually, let me try this one. And so, yeah, just like trying on different things. But the one I am reading at the moment is Lessons in Chemistry.
Right.
Finished, and I loved it. It was just light and wonderful. And it was just everything that I love in a book. She was a scientist, the main character, and so I learned a little bit about science. I love learning, but also it was about a woman standing up for what she believed in. So I like that.
Nice.
Yeah. First, I would love to know who had the most influence on you growing up.
My parents,
Mm.
different reasons. Dad, incredibly humble, generous, very, just very community minded, always looking out for other people. Amazing role model. Mum, who helped kind of start our business in Lightning Ridge, and is a writer, and the creativity and the fun and the inquiry into life. Who do you want to marry? What would matter? What would have you do this or do that? So those kinds of conversations, I love that thirst for learning.
Lovely. Yeah, my parents as well, Sarah. So my dad was a farmer and mum was a farmer's wife, in those days. His dad was a farmer, etc. So in some levels, they're kind of very down to earth, simple people, but and mum, for example, would never use the word values, but what they passed on was values, really. And, mum and dad used to always talk about, be kind, do the right thing, and try your hardest. And those three things have really carried me through life, I think. And similar to you, Fliss, mum and dad were very different. Dad's passed away now, but he was very kind, gentle, quietly spoken, absolute gentleman. Mum, high energy, never ever stopping, and pausing. And I guess I'm a combination of both of those people in some way. So.
Lovely. And just finally, I would love to end with, what is the best piece of advice you have ever received? Phil, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think what I just mentioned, actually, just, that be kind, do the right thing, and try hard. I think, my parents were ahead of their time in a way. They didn't celebrate success or winning. They celebrated what you did to get there. And even if you lost, it didn't matter. They just said, well done. Did you try your hardest? Yep. Fantastic. That's all you can ask. And I think that it's still today is so relevant and so applicable to life and the work we do.
Amazing. I love that. And for yourself, what was the best piece of advice you've received?
Mine were around kindness as well, that Kate sprung to mind. One is, be kind to people because everyone carries great pain. It just reminds me to, we don't know people's stories. The other one was, if you can only be one thing, be kind. And the third was, if the only thing you ever say is thank you, it is enough.
Nice.
Yeah. What an incredible and lovely note to end on. I would love to thank you both so much for joining me and being the first guests in the team series. It has been lovely to get to know you both a little bit better on a more personal level, that we don't always get to have those kind of conversations about. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank
Enjoyable
you,
conversation.
Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah.
Phil?
Yeah, thanks, Fliss.
Really great.